influencing, I feel like, started as like, hey, we're like normal people.
It's not that anymore.
Like just posting about our lives, but it is so different. They are so far from normal that like we've all kind of lost touch of like what things are supposed to be like.
Hello, clowns.
I'm Ami.
I'm Yu Chen, and we're the hosts of Clown Vibes Podcast.
We're two best friends who are chronically online and get together weekly to laugh and discuss all the clown behavior we see on the internet.
And there's so much.
Truly so much.
We're so glad to have you here to clown around with us, and we hope you enjoy the episode.
Hello, clowns. Welcome back to another episode of Clown Vibes. If I sound different, it's because I'm sick. Yet again. But you know, maybe this nasally voice is like sexy for people. I don't know. Like, you know, like the smoker's voice, the sick, like cold voice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes. When we post TikToks for this episode, I'm sure we'll get a comment.
Oh, yeah. The vocal fry. We get that all the fucking time.
The vocal fry.
JK, we got it once.
Fuck everyone.
And I have not stopped thinking about it.
Not for 1 second. I think about it daily. That's my Roman Empire. Just kidding.
Okay, so since I've been back from Japan, I feel like I finally have caught up on TikTok. When we were discussing last night, I was like,
thank God.
Oh my gosh, are we off again? Because you were saying how you got so much Eras Tour concert, but it was just because I was away for like 3 hours and I suddenly got all of it too. And I was like, yeah. But I saw this stitch of a stitch. I love this because I'm like, ooh, a little rabbit hole that I can go under. But basically, this girl was like, I saw this video of this girl basically saying how she saw this other influencer basically copy her look, like her outfit. And it was like a sweater over something. And it made like this other influencer pause because she's like, wait, isn't the whole point of influencing supposed to be that other people copy you? But somehow influencers are upset when other influencers copy them.
I saw a video. I don't remember if it was Condiment Claire or Wishbone.
It was Wishbone because I saw Wishbone.
It was Wishbone, right? Okay, yeah. She said the same thing. Like someone made her recipe and she was like, hey, that's mine. And then she, in the video herself, was like, wait, isn't that a good thing?
Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing?
Like, yeah. And it is. It's very confusing to be upset about that, I guess.
To take a step back, how do you feel about people copying you? Have you ever had someone copy you before? You copy me all the time.
And I don't care. I do copy you all the time.
I don't think you actually copy me, though. Like, you literally ask me for, like, what I have and I tell you. I think that's different.
Yeah.
There was actually this girl in high school that would copy me sometimes. Would like copy my style. And she was like a few years younger than me. And it always made me feel weird. It made me feel like, oh, what are you doing? But it was like, she doesn't do it in a way that you do it, where you're like, oh, I love that. Like, where'd you get it? Then I would tell you. She would do it like really slyly. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Something was off about it. It like made me feel icky. I kind of get why influencers would feel icky about it too, but also that's your whole fucking job is to influence people.
Yeah, that's literally your job. And it should be flattering when that is your career. I'm a big like, I'll just buy what other people have so that I don't have to think about it. Because I like to make zero decisions. It's not so much that like I want to copy. It's just like I don't have the brain capacity to find things myself. Me and Amy at all times like are wearing very similar things. We do have just like a similar clothes vibe, but yeah, like also a lot of the times because Chad is like a sneakerhead, he will tell Amy to buy some shoes, and then I'm like, oh, I really like those shoes. I'm gonna get them too.
Amy has become a sneakerhead literally this year.
On to our main topic of this week, which is influencers. Have you noticed like the shift lately on TikTok about how people just seem done with influencers. Like everyone is over it.
Yes, and I'm kind of living for it. Mainly because
Yeah.
I love to hate and I love to watch. Actually, I don't love to hate. I love to watch other people hate. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like it's kind of fun to watch this discourse because it, like, truth be told, I don't think we're ever going to get rid of influencers, but I have
No.
seen so many anti Emma Chamberlain videos, and for what?
So many.
And it's not like she, like, did one specific thing where
Yeah.
she said one specific thing that, like, caused an uproar. But it was, like, one video
Yeah.
has, like, caused a spiral of, like, anti-Emma Chamberlain
So
videos.
many people. Yeah. And I saw a video about the discourse that was just like, you guys, she's been doing
Oh,
this her whole
yeah.
life. Like, why are we all of this sudden mad? And they're just like, are you listening to her
No.
podcast to like get knowledge? No, you're just like listening to it for shits if you're listening. Like, why do you expect her to be any different than she's always been? And like they're bringing up how she didn't graduate or go to college or something, and it's just like, she hasn't
Yeah.
ever. Like, I don't know, this is not a new thing. It's just like, what's going on?
Okay, context for the audience. Emma Chamberlain is a Gen Z influencer. She's huge. I would say she's like the most popular Gen Z influencer. I think she started off on YouTube, and she's just like, her YouTube videos were her running around getting coffee, like just doing little Gen Z things, like just living her own teen life.
Yeah.
And so she's gotten so big, you know, she doesn't need to go to college, and she has like multiple ventures. She has Chamberlain Coffee. And her latest venture is she has a podcast. I think it's called Anything Goes with Emma Chamberlain. And basically she's just shooting the shit in her bedroom. There's no co-host, it's just her. And the feedback, you know what? I found out about Emma Chamberlain's podcast because someone was like raving about that one particular episode. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Where she claims that there's like a shift in pop culture? A shift in something.
Oh, yes. I think you told me to listen to it, and I did listen to it. But I am not a single host podcast listener. So it is very hard for me to pay attention to those types of podcasts. So it just was interesting, but I did never continue after that.
It's interesting because I got exposed to her podcast because someone was praising it, and now that podcast is getting shit on left and right.
And she's had this podcast for years. So it's like randomly it's getting shit on. It's not as if one episode like was bad. They're just shitting on it in its entirety, and it's just like, okay, everyone's bored.
And like, don't expect it. Who is having this expectation that Emma Chamberlain's podcast is like the New York Times and you're going to get really great journalism or like think pieces? No. Her stuff is probably like Clown Vibes, where we just literally shoot the shit.
Yeah. And it's just like, don't listen to us for facts because we don't remember a single thing and we're trying to just like tell you from our memory that makes no sense. So
yeah, but I think like this is definitely super representative of the shift in how society is viewing influencers lately. I saw this one video of this girl basically saying like, I blocked this one influencer family because they moved into my family home, and they're creating like a series of basically renovating her childhood home and like calling it a fixer upper. And so many people, like, that video went viral because they're like, I think people just love to hate influencers right now. Like,
yeah,
like what is wrong with fixing up your home? Like, that is like prime TikTok content right there. Like, everyone's doing it.
Yeah, I think it's because there's such a divide between influencers and normal people now, where they get so much money for doing essentially nothing, and then like all of us normal people have to like work a lot jobs, and like people have to work multiple jobs, and it's just creating a lot of resentment. So then of course when you're like, well, this was like a home that I loved and, you know, was special to me, and you're saying like it's a dump, obviously it's gonna sting. But I don't know. It is just life right now.
Definitely, I think the wealth gap. I've seen so many videos about the wealth gap as well lately, about how like there's just, I mean, it's
Yeah.
self-explanatory. There's just a gap in society where there's a lot of wealthy people and then the rest of us just live a completely different life. But like what we're exposed to is this like wealthy subset of individuals who, and it just like makes you resentful. Like any normal person would feel resentful towards
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And especially like influencing, I feel like started as like, hey, we're like
Yeah,
normal people,
it's not that anymore.
like just posting about our lives. But it is so different. They are so far from normal that like we've all kind of lost touch of like what things are supposed to be like.
Have you seen those videos shitting on the Target man?
Yes. And I've never seen the Target Man's
I saw
video,
it.
but I've only seen, okay, explain to the
Well, it's
audience.
interesting because usually these kind of videos are usually videos done by women and then they get shit on. But it's interesting that it's a
Mm-hmm.
man that's getting shit on for this. But for the audience, there's a bunch of different types of like vlogging type videos. And there's been a ton where like people are filming these, I don't know, in film, do they call it like side reels where it's like you have the camera away and it's like filming you parking a car, you walking into Target, you like checking out. But like usually in these reality type or like vlog type productions, you have a film crew or like someone else filming. But because we know these influencers are very small, usually these influencers who are doing these are very small, they are doing it
Yeah.
themselves. So it's like people calling him out, being like, okay, so you literally drove into the parking lot, set up your tripod, got back into your car, parked your car, got out, set up your tripod to like film you walking into Target. You walked out, you moved your like there's so much like setting up back and forth that it in your mind you just can't help but giggle at the fact that like you
Yeah.
can't imagine someone actually doing this in real life, but they are.
They are. And it's kind of like, remember when we tried to do the day in the life and I did not get up to set up my camera. Like I literally just rolled and grabbed it. But it's just always so weird to watch people's like waking up in the morning
Yeah.
videos, like all of those videos where you're watching like someone and their partner cuddle. You're like,
Yeah.
what? Oh, like this is not authentic. And like even though sometimes it does seem authentic, you're just like, this isn't.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of a mind fuck to be like, what's going on?
And like those types of filming have been around for a really long time, but for some reason, we're just calling it
Yeah.
out now. Like, this is stupid. I don't know if you remember that one video where this woman was like, I am going through the most like emotional time of my life, and it's her literally shaking. And there's so many recreations of like setting up the camera and then shaking. And then getting like, I feel bad for the woman. Like, the internet really did her dirty. But at the same time, the internet
Yeah.
is right. Like, this is what you did.
Yeah. And you choose to put this stuff out, and it's just like people are taking potentially real intimate moments in their lives and putting it on the internet. And it's just like you took the time when you're sobbing to film yourself.
Yeah.
Like, what? Have you seen all that backlash on Caitlyn Bristow lately?
No.
Okay, so obviously she's been going through it because her and Jason Tarek, I think that's his last name, broke up their engagement. So it is a very stressful time for her. But she has been like posting a lot of these videos of her setting up the cameras, or like, you know, in the background setting up the camera and watching her have a panic attack. And it's like, in the middle of your panic attack, are you setting this camera up? Like, what is going on here? And like, everyone's just trashing her for that because it's like you're kind of just making light, like not making light, but like I don't know, just it just feels bad. I don't know how to
No, I
explain
think
it.
it feels bad because this is supposed to be a really authentic moment that you're sharing with your audience, but it is obviously inauthentic. Like, I'm sure she is upset. Is she actually
Yeah,
having a panic attack, which is a very serious situation? We don't know, because when you're having a panic attack, are you subconsciously thinking, oh, it's time to film.
Yeah, like, let's make content out of this. It's hard to grapple with that. And like, who are we to say that that's not authentic, I guess, to her? But like, it's, if it has gone so far that like in your, maybe like one of your most darkest, like saddest moments, you're thinking about producing content. Like, that's how fucked up
That's
this
how,
thing has
yeah,
gotten.
that's how, I mean, and it's not really their fault because that content does well.
Yeah.
And so it's been normalized, which is weird that all of a sudden we're like, nah, it sucks. It's not real. Like, did we ever think it was real? Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. I think it's so widespread now that you can't help but critique it more than like in the past. Everyone, their mom is an influencer now. We're trying to be, not really. I don't think we could ever be like good influencers because we hate doing it.
What, everything that I see of like day in the life of being an influencer, the one thing I cannot get behind is like they really like put on makeup. Like all the like really pretty girls, they're always doing their makeup for casual videos, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I truly do not have the energy to do that. That is the one thing that is truly holding me back, is I can't get behind that.
And it's just like they have no job, right? Most of the time. It is like, hey, get ready with me to like go pick up my laundry. It's like, let me get a coffee treat on the way. And if the only thing I had to do in my day was pick up my laundry, like, you're living the best life, and people just aren't gonna love that because they're not living this like life where one errand is your whole day's activity.
You're living my weekend that I work my ass for.
Yeah, exactly. And like some people's weekends can't even be like that, you know? And they're doing this on a random Wednesday. And you're just like, well, fuck you. What have you done that is like so special and different that you are allowed to do this when most people aren't?
Yeah, so I guess we're kind of getting into our next section, which is like criticisms that we've seen lately about the influencer industry. So the first is so much criticism on like the social media manager who makes like, I don't know, 60K a year, paying like basically their salary to big influencers for just like one post or like one Insta Reels. And even with like the rise of micro influencers, and I don't know, people define micro influencers differently, but I would say if you have like 10 to 12K or followers, you could easily be classified as a micro influencer. And they're just making like 1K a post. Like, it's really easy to get monetized when you start gaining some followers. And so there's just like, it's to the point of like the wealth gap, like it's so apparent. And because especially with the rise of TikTok where any video can go viral, a normal like social media manager and average Joe can just like say something like that and it go viral, and it just caused so much additional discourse between the two separate like entities.
Remember the random man from Atlanta girl where, you know, like, good for her for being able to monetize like this bad situation that happened to her, but basically overnight she gained so much popularity that she is then selling merch. And that has just like not been a aspect of life previous to TikTok, because on Instagram it's actually not that easy to gain that many followers overnight. It's not easy at all, actually. I don't know anyone who's been able to do that, like a random person.
Us.
But on TikTok, it happens daily. Yeah, it's gonna be us, but we'll see. And like the thing that they're doing sometimes to like gain these followers, like Tube Girl, is make a quote unquote fool out of themselves in public for their online persona. And that has also been getting so many critiques of just like, what kind of dystopian world do we live in, like Black Mirror world, where your online persona is like way more important than how you interact with people in life.
Yeah, that's so interesting. The whole Tube Girl phenomena is crazy because I think she basically became so big overnight, like even bigger. Like it was quicker than the rise of Alex Earl, in my opinion. And she monetized that quickly. And It's interesting because she was UK based, and that was like right at the like start of all the Fashion Week content in Europe. So she was like primed to like basically attend all the shows and create so much content from it. But it went from something somewhat authentic, like you were at the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got her videos at the beginning, just watching her feeling herself in the tube, and that was like fun to watch.
Yeah.
But it went from that to like Mac sponsorship, walking for, I don't know which brands she walked for. And then it just became like,
yeah,
I don't know if I like your content anymore because you monetized it so aggressively, so fast.
Yeah, and it's also like, okay, you made like a funny or cool video of you like in the tube, but how many of those can you make? And that is your only content now. And like a few weeks after she blew up, people would take videos of her creating videos, and she just like, you have to look funny doing it. There's just no other way to do it. So
wait,
what the
have
fuck?
you tried to make a tube girl video yet?
Remember, we did it in New York.
Did we really?
Were you drunk?
On whose phone?
Yes, it's on my TikTok. It's on mine. But it's like us in the hotel because we were like, let's practice. And that's when you first told me about Tube Girl. Yeah, we didn't do it on the subway. No way. As soon as we did it in like at the hotel, we were like, we're never doing this. I didn't even know about her until you said that, and that's when I looked it up, and then we did this practice video.
We practiced and we never started. We were
Once.
just like, no, let's not.
No,
it's not for us.
This is not for us. Yeah.
Okay, I literally just got a video like this morning, and it made me feel icky.
Okay.
But this girl was like, you know how photos are like really in like the photo trends or whatever? She's like, these are all the like fall winter coats that I'm really loving. Somehow they're all like Zara coats that are in season this year. So it's not like stuff that you've accumulated in the past years. It's everything that you basically bought it this year for this haul.
To make it. Yes, the hauls have gotten really out of control of just people buying a shit ton of stuff to try on for camera and then probably return. And like, I mean, maybe they're getting some money from the brands, maybe they're just trying to like get big, but I'm always curious when I see those videos, like what they actually kept, because they do say like, I'm gonna keep this, I'm gonna return this, but of the things they say they keep, did they keep it? Or did you buy all of this stuff that's so wasteful to then just return because you wanted to make content?
Yeah, especially I'm glad people are talking about it now though, because this has been a really widespread practice even in the mid 2010s. Like, do you know the influencer Danny Austin? I think she's Dallas based. A lot of people hate her right now, but she's been around for a while. And I've seen like some videos come from like just regular Joes who are like, oh yeah, I was a sales associate at Nordstrom during like Danny Austin's 2010 era, and she would always come in and like make all the returns of all the videos of all the like outfits that she basically filmed that I saw the day before on her YouTube or whatever. So it is very wasteful. And fun industry knowledge I gave Ami while we were in New York last year is like, I think there is a law against basically returning shoes. Like if you buy shoes online and you make a return, they can't like sell it again on e-com. And I'm pretty sure it's with clothes too. Like if you buy something off of Amazon, it usually doesn't get restocked and like made purchasable by a normal person. Like it goes through like a returns route, and usually it doesn't get sold, or it gets sold to like a discounted like Marshalls or something. I don't know. I know for shoes like you can't resell it online, which is really wasteful for the environment.
I think clothes is, at least from my Aeropostale knowledge, you just put it back on the floor and sell it. But I don't know how it works for e-commerce anymore. And like, I'm sure certain things you definitely can't resell, like underwear or I don't know, things that are a little bit more intimate.
You know, I've probably been on a soapbox about this, but you know what bothers me the most is how every influencer these days think they need like a second stream or a third stream of income. Especially all the bachelor people. I'm just like, I
Oh,
actually don't know
yeah.
why you guys need another clothing line or a app or something. Like maybe a Kardashian because they have the, or you know, there's criticism with Kylie now too for
Yeah, yeah,
her
yeah,
new
yeah,
line
yeah.
Kai. Is it Kai? Yeah.
Kai.
And I think
Yeah.
people are
Yeah,
sick
it's
of it.
called
It's just
Kai.
like, you have enough. You've taken enough of my money.
And the thing is, like, especially with the Kardashians now, which I know was straying from influencer content, is like their new products are not of good quality. They are just pushing anything out there to like make money, and it's not like a Skims level of quality.
Yeah.
And they're also apparently ripping off small designers, which classic
Yeah.
of them
That's
to do.
I've heard of that like before, so not uncommon for them.
But yeah, like everyone is trying to start their own business, and it's like, you don't have to. Just get a job.
Yeah, well the thing is like, do you actually need this additional stream of income? Or you just want more money?
No. And the thing is, it would be different if they're like setting themselves up for the future where it's like influencing is a very unstable
Yeah,
market. You know what I
for
mean?
sure.
Like, I don't think it's going away, but like at any time it could have an upheaval that like we won't be able to predict. So, okay, yeah, like if you're trying to create a little nest egg so that you have safety, okay. But like I don't think that's what's
No.
happening. They are using it to increase their materialism.
It's kind of like an addiction that you can't be
Yeah.
stopped. Like, I guess it was a model that the Kardashians really did well, but that can't be replicated by every single person. And I
Anyone.
feel like I'm getting
Yeah, yeah,
pushed
yeah, yeah,
so many
yeah.
different brands. Like, I heard Gigi Hadid had her own line of clothing recently. It's been around for a year, and they're like $1,000 sweaters that are
Oh.
supposed to be affordable. And I'm just like, Gigi, you have a baby. You're a very successful model. I don't know if like you really need an affordable sweater line that's not affordable.
Yeah, like you've lost the plot if you think a 1,000 is affordable, and I guess like to you that's like pennies. But to a normal person, that's a that's not.
To wrap it up, what are some influencers that we used to like but maybe don't like anymore? Who are we enjoying? Like, obviously, Ami and I are still consumers of influencer content. There's no stopping us. We love it.
Yes.
I mean, you go first. What are some influencers you're enjoying?
Okay, right now I really like Condiment Claire because she just makes like jams and stuff and like taste tests different types of like weird condiments, and she has not monetized her videos in a way that is at least noticeable to me. Like everything feels very authentic. She goes back to her dad's French mill. She's French. And it's just like doing chores around the mill or like creating different recipes or trying out different bakeries. Like it feels very authentic and it doesn't feel like she lives in excess, which I appreciate. Like she literally wears her shoes to where she has holes in them and then is sad when
Aw.
she has to buy new shoes. So it feels very real, even though I know that she has to be making so much money from this, which I
How many
appreciate.
followers does she have?
Um, I don't know actually, but I want to say close to 1 million.
Oh, nice.
Like she's big.
Honestly,
Yeah, and like she's also friends with
I saw
celebrities.
some discourse the other day where it's like anyone has 1 million followers these days. Like 1 million is not that big. Meanwhile, Clan
Which is
vibes.
crazy. Fair. Okay, fair. But like I do think her following is
Substantial.
Natural. Yeah. Yeah. And like from putting out good consistent content and not like an overnight blow up. Because I've been watching her videos for years. And then my newest like favorite is the sugar baby called Palmer. Although she's off of TikTok now and I haven't seen her in like a month, which is sad. But I was really just enjoying her stories. And she wasn't that big. She was trying to monetize, but she wasn't there yet. So it's just kind of interesting to see.
I love finding influencers who haven't started monetizing yet. The
Yeah.
pre-monetization period is always their most like authentic period.
Yeah. And I saw this video of Alex Earl giving like an interview yesterday where like the guy asked her, like, do you just work with any brand? And she's like, no, like I try to keep the brands I work with like very authentic to my audience because like you don't want to upset them and this and that. And it's just like,
But why are you doing it
but
for
do
your
you?
audience now? Like, in my opinion, you work with brands that represent
Yeah.
you. Because at the end of the day, like, that's what we're watching for is you. Ugh, it's a weird power play.
Yeah. It was confusing. Yeah, agreed. I was like, oh, like you're doing this for the little people? Like I'm confused. Like what's going on? And she basically was trying to be like, I need to be very authentic. I'm like, but is this authentic? I don't think so. Like just working with a brand that you don't like really love doesn't qualify as authenticity. That is just normal in a business decision. Like I don't know. It did not sit right and I did not feel good about how she said it. And then Half Baked Harvest that's been having a lot of backlash apparently.
Yeah.
But have you heard the backlash?
Okay, I saw this one video where it was like me and the devil trend and she was the devil, but I think the backlash is like
Uh,
her recipes are super complicated, which is I think your criticism too of her, or is it not?
that is my criticism of her, but that is not, I mean, it's not my criticism of her. It's just like why I don't really follow her anymore. One, I don't cook. So it's just kind of like whatever. The New York Times, it was New York Times or someone who posted, and I think this is what the real backlash is that she makes like she'll create Vietnamese dishes and like Mexican dishes and this and that, but she won't pronounce things right and she won't make it in the right like way. And then she's like monetizing off of it. But did see some videos off of that being like, well, she's trying and she's not doing it in a malicious way. She is just uneducated, but she should be educated. Like it is a weird, like, it's not intentional. So does she deserve this level of backlash? I don't know.
Half Baked Harvest is pretty big. Okay, to that point, it's also just like Asian cuisines are very difficult to do it the authentic way. There are lots
Yeah,
of spices, like lots of steps, and her main audience is what, American? Most of us can't get those
exactly.
like spices and ingredients or tools in our normal grocery store anyway. So if she's making a simplified version where the average American can, recreate it, more power to her. And I'm saying this as an Asian woman who cooks. Like,
Yeah.
I was trying to make sundubu jjigae today, and the first recipe I found was like so complicated. I'm pretty sure it's more authentic, but I'm just like, no, I need an easy one where I can replicate.
Exactly. And that's why I don't like really, I guess, believe in the backlash. I think it is what it
Yeah.
is. Like people are following her because she makes aesthetic cooking videos and her recipes are some supposed to be simple. They're not simple for me. But
I just remember the scones that you made. Do you remember the scones you made?
oh, that wasn't
Oh,
her
really?
recipe though. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it was like someone off of TikTok. Yeah. But I have made, well, I didn't make them, but Emily made her desserts a lot. And her cookies, she always says to like slap the pan on the like counter to get the cookies flat. And never in our lives has that worked for us. So I'm just like, how are you doing this? Explain this better. But yeah, regardless, I did make one of her savory recipes one time. I didn't like
Mm-hmm.
it because I didn't like the spice combo. And then since then, I've just never made a savory thing. Like, we just have different palates, which is fine.
Okay, well, to that point, I mean, the audience knows because I talk about her all the fucking time. I am such a huge fan of Rocker Body because her videos or her recipes are very easy to make. Ami can testify because the one thing she cooked
Even I've
recently
made one.
was a Rock Your Body recipe.
Yes, I have not cooked raw meat in my house in years. And this was the first time I made a chicken chili because it seemed easy enough. And it was. So thank you, Brock.
What I do, okay, are you on Reddit and do you follow like influencer snark accounts?
I am not really on Reddit that way.
Okay, well,
No.
I wasn't either, but like when you search something, sometimes you get pushed different.
Yeah, it pops up.
And I see that people snark on her, and I'm just like, why? But there's like, people think she is also like really disconnected from reality too. I mean, she's never once said like her job was difficult. Like she works very hard, but I think like what makes
Yeah.
her authentic is she is a healthy, quote unquote, healthy eating account, but like also have your fun and like have all these nice things like desserts and drinks. And she's
Yeah.
not super skinny. What I have been really frustrated by with the influencer industry is how skinny some of these girls are. And you and I like talked about this last night, but I feel like we've normalized really skinny individuals in the influencing industry that probably have eating disorders that we do not know about, because why would they tell us this? And I say this because I used to follow a bunch of other cooking accounts from women who were more skinny, and they would always talk about how they don't have their periods. And not all of them have PCOS. Like, you guys cannot all have PCOS. Like, that just does not make statistical sense. The one thing that I like about Brock is, like, you know, she is a more like average size body woman, and I appreciate that. Like, she's probably eating the food that she's making.
Yeah, that's the thing of just when you're a cooking creator, if you are not consuming the food you eat, that's so wasteful.
So wasteful.
And if you are consuming it, how are you staying so skinny? And that could be just how you naturally are. I do understand that, but is it that we have only given platforms to skinny people and that's why it seems off to us?
Yeah, we do.
Like naturally skinny people, which we do for sure.
Obviously, I love Wishbone Kitchen. I love her day in the, like, she just films such fun content. But you know what I haven't been liking is a lot of the like celebrity influencer crossover videos that she does. Those don't feel as authentic to me, and then I'm just like, man, I just want to see what your like day in the life as a chef, private chef, is like. Like, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
And so I feel like she's at the point in her career where she's like branching out and trying to make connections and probably doing more partnership videos. But now I don't feel as bought in as a viewer.
I have not actually seen her celebrity crossover ones, but I agree, like the videos I like from her are ones where she's like either making something for herself or making something for like her clients.
And my guilty pleasure right now, I don't even know we talked about this, is Paige Lorenz. Do you know who Paige Lorenz is?
No, I don't even know who that is.
She dated Armie Hammer, and she was the one that
came.
I don't know if she was the primary one, but she said a lot about like what he did while they were dating.
Oh my God.
She was in New York, I think, around the time that I was in New York. She was in the like New York City influencer group. And so she's beautiful. I mean, there's been a lot of snark about her. Like, she's pretty controversial. A lot of people do not like her. But she has since like rebranded into like this, lives in the countryside, like cooks a lot of like pasta and pizza. And
interesting.
yeah, she creates like really soothing vlogs that when I'm doing my cardio, when I'm walking, watching her videos.
Yeah.
And she's dating a pro tennis player. She was like a wag that I was excited to see in Japan, but she actually didn't go to Japan.
Ugh.
But like, I feel weird for liking her because there's been a lot of issues that have come out about her, and I don't know what to believe at this point. But right now, I'm being influenced. So she has this brand called Dairy Boy, and in all her vlogs, she's eating a shit ton of dairy. I just want to know, like, how is your stomach handling all this dairy?
Man, she maybe has just like had it so much that her stomach has gotten used to it. But you know, whenever I try that tactic, it doesn't work. So
I mean, she is adding whole milk to everything.
Damn.
I mean, I'm like half watching these videos just to see like, just to like shock myself.
She might have like a stomach of steel.
Yeah.
Which good for her.
But anyways, I'm liking it right now. I don't know why. You know, sometimes influencer content, like, who knew you would be into the sugar baby content?
Exactly. It kind of hits you randomly. And it's sometimes a fleeting interest, which is also fine. The thing is, you cannot escape influencers if you're on any sort of social media. And it is what it is. They are making content for us to consume. Thanks so much for listening. You can follow us on all social media at Clown Vibes Podcast or email us at clownvibespodcast@gmail.com.
And if you like our show and want to support us, please like, subscribe, and give us a rating and review. That's it for today. Bye, clowns.
Bye, clowns.